New York Post columnist Andrea Peyser wrote about Philip Seymour Hoffman's death, and she's a little annoyed that people seem to be so sympathetic toward him and his family.
Yeah, that is really annoying,
yeah, it's really bad. Like,
it's
I don't know
a great
why.
actor, dies that a lot of people related to, and why are you sympathetic to that guy? Okay. But surprisingly, I'm going to half agree with her here.
Yeah, okay, so she says the following. Hoffman has been painted by leaders in the drug trade not as an adult who made the fatal decision to get high. So her concern is that people are treating him as though he is a victim as opposed to someone who made a decision for himself to go shoot up heroin.
Right.
She continues to write, in the end, heroin was Hoffman's companion. The sad inventory of items police found in his apartment included 50 plastic bags of heroin bearing the words Ace of Spades and Ace of Hearts, plus 20 empty bags. There were 20 used syringes and a batch of fresh ones, 5 vials containing various prescription pills, and a charred spoon Hoffman likely used to cook up his final fix. Hoffman had been sober for 23 years before diving off the wagon. He made his choice.
So the half I agree with is now there's this whole thing of like, who sold him the drugs? Let's go get the drug dealers. Honestly, I find that kind of irrelevant. He decided to take the drugs, so it's not like the drug dealers made him take the drugs. They put the syringe in his arm. If they did, then by all means, let's arrest him, right? But I don't find that relevant. So I agree with her that he did make a choice, right? Now the question is, and the part I disagree with is her needlessly vitriolic tone.
Yeah.
Like, he made his choice. I don't know why anybody's sympathetic. It's normal to be sympathetic, and we know he made his choice, but you don't have to be hostile about it.
I think she fails to understand, the severity of addiction and how it really is an illness, right? And she makes some points about how that kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When people treat you as if you have this disease, then you're more likely to treat yourself as a victim and then relapse, right? So she makes that point. I think that there could be some credibility to that, but I don't like how she just kind of ignores the fact or belittles the fact that this addiction is a real illness that should be treated, right?
So that's where I'm 50-50, right? So look, on the one hand, some people are more predisposed to drugs, right? To becoming addicted to drugs, I should say, including being addicted to alcohol, right? So if you drew the short straw, well, after however many drinks, you're far more likely to become an alcoholic than I am. So then I get to judge you and say, ha ha, oh yeah, you alky or whatever, right? Same thing with drugs, you druggie, right? Well, I wasn't as predisposed as you are. So yes, I understand that point. And so she should be far more sympathetic to that. On the other hand, I am really, like, in the end, it is your choice. And I'm afraid that people use the whole illness talk as an excuse. As a way of saying, like, well, what could I do? I'm sick, so I had to do it, so I'm going to keep doing it because I'm predisposed to it. I think that that's not uncommon, right? I think the answer is both, right? I would feel greatly sympathetic to Philip Seymour Hoffman because he's obviously far more prone to addiction than I am or the average guy is, right? At the same time, he did make a choice. I understand that. And I don't want the next guy thinking, oh, there's nothing I could have done.
I think my biggest issue with this is people tend to forget the fact that when we experience people in our lives or people that we know who go out and they use drugs, it's usually a moment of desperation, especially when it's a hard drug like heroin, right? Because if you're genuinely happy with your life and things are going well, you're not going to think, hey, you know what, I'm going to go shoot up heroin. People do it when they're in very, very dark places in their lives. And if you're already predisposed to having an addiction, then you become hooked and you go down this spiral, this downward spiral. So I wish that her tone was definitely different. I don't know what percentage of people use their illness as an excuse to continue using the drugs, since we don't have hard numbers on that. I have no idea, and I feel uncomfortable saying that. But again, you have to take into account that this really is an illness. And you also have to take into account that people don't use drugs when they're in a happy place in their lives. They do it when they're desperate, when they're sad, when they're lonely.
I think she might particularly be upset about this because she probably views Philip Seymour Hoffman as someone who's successful. Hence, well, it really had to be a choice. He didn't have to be in a dark place, right? But you don't know his psychology. You don't know his, personal issues. You don't know anything about him. So that's an unfair way of thinking about it as well. I guess every time you say illness, that's where it rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Far more predisposed to addiction, I'm totally with. The minute we use the word illness, I feel a little uncomfortable because then it makes it seem like it's predestined, predetermined. Like you get cancer, what could you do? You know what I'm saying? But addiction is not like that. There is something you could do. You could try to, battle it and get off the drugs or alcohol.
Right, but a huge percentage, more than 50% of people who stop drinking alcohol, for instance, because they found out, okay, I'm an alcoholic, they do relapse. Most people who go to treatment programs, just like Philip Seymour Hoffman, they get clean and then at some point they relapse again. And it's because it is an illness. It goes beyond just being predisposed to that addiction.
No, I'm going to stay where I am.
Okay.
Illness, using the word illness makes me uncomfortable. Call me what you will.